For the debate, the member from Toronto, Danforth.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, as you're well aware, people in this province face some very real challenges. Challenges when it comes to making ends meet, and challenges of a world getting hotter and more extreme. This year they've faced rising rents, rising interest rates, and rising grocery prices. They've also had to deal with choking air pollution as Canada's forests are consumed by wildfires, and for many people, they're facing the threat of losing home insurance as extreme weather exposes homes to flooding risks. Earlier this year, the Weather Network reported that flooding and other natural calamities exacerbated by climate change are making Canadian homes uninsurable. 4 million Canadians in areas impacted by severe flooding, and up to 10% of all homes in Canada currently or will soon be facing the problem of uninsurability. We're not talking about the far future. We're talking about the here and the now. At the same time, greed-driven, corporate-driven higher prices are squeezing people at the affordability end. According to the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, over 40% of the recent rise in prices can be attributed to corporate profits. And the industry that leads the pack in hoovering up those excess profits is the very industry that's causing climate chaos, the oil and gas companies. At the climate end, dangerous air quality from climate-driven wildfires are affecting the health of Canadians across the country. A Government of Canada study this past summer reported smoke migrating from the fires is impacting air quality across North America, with historical records for poor air quality being broken in cities across Canada and the United States. As of June 14th of this past summer, special air quality statements were in effect for parts of British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, and Quebec, including several major cities. And that's not even talking about First Nations communities forced to evacuate to avoid a disaster. The affordability crisis and the climate crisis are both making life harder for people here in this province, in Ontario. The resolution brought forward today is a way of addressing both these crises at the same time. By investing in the people of this province, by providing the financing for them to leave behind high-priced fuels like propane and heating oil, by providing them with the help to get away from the pricing roller coaster that natural gas has become, we can dramatically cut their carbon pollution and put money in their pockets. They need both. They deserve both. They can have both. Let's talk briefly about the savings available. A 2022 federal government study compared heating systems costs to heat pumps. Federal study found that installing a cold climate air source heat pump, Canadian households switching from an electric furnace would save an average of $700 to $1,900 a year in utility bills. And those with furnaces that run on heating oil would save $1,000 to $3,500 a year. I was talking to a friend of mine last night who lives in PEI. She told me that she got partial conversion of her household to heat pumps. She couldn't afford to do the whole thing, but it cut her annual energy bill by about $4,000 a year. Wow. Huge impact, even with partial heating and cooling in her house. The Canadian Climate Institute did a study focused on households with gas furnaces and air conditioners in 5 cities: Edmonton, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax. Unlike the federal study, it included costs and savings over the lifetime of the equipment, assumed to be 18 years. A heat pump cut costs on average 13% in those cities studied. Provinces with free heat pump programs, PEI, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland and Labrador, are already working with the federal government to deliver the free heat pump program to low-income households. Something we could do right here in this province. We could do it starting this winter if this government was willing to act. We in Ontario need to sit down with the federal government and negotiate a broader program to cover all fuels and vastly expand the savings and climate protection potential of this program. Ontario can and should be part of such a partnership. Many people question whether heat pumps will work in colder climates like ours. I note that the studies showing savings included Montreal and Edmonton, not noted for their tropical weather conditions. In fact, people should also know that heat pumps are being widely utilized in Scandinavia. Europe's coldest countries have the highest heat pump penetration, 60% of Norway's buildings, Sweden at 43%, Finland at 41%. We're talking close to the Arctic Circle. This is technologically, economically, and environmentally doable. Let's face it, the cost of the climate crisis is going to have an impact on food, insurance, on every aspect of our lives. We need to take it on. This is a government that does not have a credible climate plan. It's as simple as that. The Auditor General took apart the one that they put forward in 2018, and they have yet to come forward with a credible plan to actually show how they would get to the inadequate target that they set. The inadequate target that they set for 2030 will not protect us from the kinds of climate damage that we fear is on its way. It will not allow us to meet the targets set by the United Nations. Speaker, investing in the homes of Ontarians will give them a boost in the fight for affordability, a big boost. It will deliver a real gain in the fight against climate change, and as our leader said, it will put a lot of people to work. Let's do it now.